power forward tonight.
He was guarding Julius Randle.
He was guarding Julius. He was forcing him to tough shots, but Julius got some, got some fast break layups from turnovers, and Julius got going in the second half. I thought they did a good job in the first half on him, though.
First career double-double for Guy Santos, and he's playing alongside Quentin Post, the Postal Service. KB mentioned it. He averages 17 minutes. He gave me play 17 in the first half. And you could tell at times he was sucking some wind there and running up and down the floor. But you know what? 27 minutes, 34 seconds. He gets better and better and better. Look, it's a tough matchup against Rudy Gobert, against Julius Randle, Naz Reid. But he was active out there. 13 points, 5 rebounds. You can do that at times, hit the three-point shot, and the Warriors want more of that, KB.
Well, QP is a smart fella. He had to see who was on the injury report tonight and think, okay, I got to start tonight. This is against the size. And I wonder, as he looks at Rudy Gobert going forward, just consider Quentin Post is 25 years old. His body is probably done growing. But what kind of frame does he want to play with as he matches up against some of the other 7-footers in this league? I remember earlier in the season he said, sometimes if I gain 5 pounds, I feel thicker but slower. If I lose 5 pounds, I feel quicker, but I get pushed around down there. So it's going to be a balance of how can this big man kind of be inside of his body? How can he prepare to play against some of the bigger competitors in the league, the guys that match his body size? Gobert's got 20 pounds on him too. So how does he grow into his body? How does he study? How does he KYP, basically? How does he study guys? And how does he prepare for many years and what will hopefully be a long career playing against these other 7-footers?
Yeah, Quentin Post has improved tremendously this year. The guy from last year to this year, he looks much more confident. He is taking those shots that he needs to take for this team to be successful at 7 feet tall. He's a stretch 5. He starts the games to create that spacing for Steph, for Draymond, for them to be able to activate. They need QP to hit those shots. And he did that tonight, 3 for 7 from the three-point line. But I also saw a part of him going in. You talk about him sucking wind, Bonte, but he was sucking wind because QP was going at Rudy Gobert, and he was going in the paint. Yep. And, I love seeing that part for any big man. I love the fact that he has the skill to be able to shoot and hit threes, but as a 7-footer, your strength is in your height and your ability to rebound the ball, your ability to go in the paint and finish over other people. I thought he did some of that tonight. You see his improvement. He's just making more confident, more straightforward moves in the paint. And I love seeing that aggressiveness. You saw a little bit of that last night, a little chippiness with him and Joe Ingles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what you need from your big man. You need a guy who can be an enforcer, one block shot. Just make them feel your presence, and you see that from QP tonight.
He battled tonight. I'm not mad at QP's night against Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, and Julius Randle, but the Warriors do come up short as we take a look at the final team stat comparison. Yeah, hide your eyes, folks. It was hideous. It was nasty.
34% field goal, 23 three-point percentage?
Yeah, it's not a typo, Fezzi.
No.
You could kind of sense in the third quarter they wanted to shoot those threes as well, seeing if they can maybe dig out of the deficit a little bit. Nah, it just got worse.
Did not work.
The free throw disparity in this game was interesting, especially early on. 0 for the Warriors in the first half. I think 14 for the Timberwolves at halftime. Not the reason that they lost, but another sign of why they were frustrated.
Not one. Buddy Hield had their first 2 attempts in the third quarter.
Halfway through the third quarter.
Midway through the third quarter. Let's hear from the head coach, Steve Kerr, presented by BMW.
Hey, Steve, just what do you take away from a game like this?
Well, I felt like we had a chance going in, but we were going to have to make some shots and take care of the ball. So 9 for 39 from 3 and 19 turnovers. Not going to get it done.
Just how would you describe the effect that Rudy had on the game tonight?
Yeah, he was great. We were trying to put him in pick and roll in the first half, pick and pop stuff with Quentin to pull him away from the hoop. But he's one of the best defenders in the league for a reason. And, covered the paint, was able to get back out to Quentin and really clog things up. So, Rudy was he was awesome.
You're expecting Draymond, Steph, Melton, Horford back on Wednesday?
Yeah, Melton and Horford for sure, and hopefully Steph and Dre. But leaving them out tonight was because they're banged up, and the knee for Steph has been nagging him. So hopefully, getting today off, tomorrow off, he'll be ready to go on Wednesday.
Kind of beyond the game, how will you remember this trip to Minneapolis?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to be here for 4 straight days during this, during all these events, to witness everything firsthand. It was meaningful. It was very sad, but I'm glad we were here. I'm glad we were able to, see the people here in Minneapolis and, try to help them forget by playing a couple of basketball games. But it's, obviously going to take a lot more than that. But it's a very resilient city, and it's a really tough situation and sad being here. Last night was a really somber atmosphere. I thought tonight was better. It felt like fans were more into it, more enjoyable, in terms of just taking in the game. But definitely a tough few days.
Steve, to follow up on that, you've been through a lot of different weeks throughout your career. How would you put into context the emotions of the entirety of this week for your group?
Well, obviously we are the visitors here. We're the observers. This is not our city, but we know all those guys on the Timberwolves, and to talk to them and talk to Chris Finch and to hear, what they're feeling, their families are feeling, and then to see literally up close the people in the streets and the tragedy, knowing it was right down the street from us. It was almost surreal. I mean, it was really a bizarre few days. But as I said, I mean, we have a lot of empathy for the people here, and we're really hopeful that the protests here and nationwide will lead to a much better solution for immigration. It's not like they're rooting out violent criminals. They're taking 5-year-old kindergartners and U.S. citizens and detaining people. And immigration is a problem that needs to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed by Congress, legislatively, not by military force in the streets, pulling people from their homes.
No doubt a tough time in Minnesota for both of these teams. The Warriors are traveling to Salt Lake City. Minnesota will go to Dallas. And I think both teams need some normalcy right now. Try to get away from, get back to playing basketball, but also keep a perspective on what's going on in this country. Tough 4 days for the Golden State Warriors, KB, and we've seen all the images. We watch the news. We see what's going on. Just a tough time.
So kind of sitting with that thing about the 5-year-old that was detained in the picture of that little boy. For really good coverage for the local reporters, as they're all eyes on the Twin Cities right now, as all of America is watching, the Minnesota Star-Tribune, their reporters and their photojournalists have been exceptional. Like pictures that will end up in the history books someday. As America lives this moment in history right now and how difficult that is, and as we assess what kind of country that we want.
Yeah, these are the tough moments that define the next generation. And I am proud of the people of Minnesota for using their voices. I've seen pictures and videos of everybody standing up for what they believe is right. And in this time right now, this is where, basketball in some ways in these moments sometimes it feels like it could be trivial, but it's really not, because there's a chance for the community to come together. You felt over the course of this game a sense of, the fans of Minnesota coming together. There was almost like a joy, in this little 48 minutes of the game. A chance to get a reprieve. And this is what sports is, but it's the basketball players doing their job, and it's on everybody to do their job. This is what America is about, is everybody doing their part to make sure that the community is safe for everyone.
Well said. Well said. Difficult times indeed in this country, but especially in Minneapolis as they are protesting peacefully